Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm here to show you how to reload your own pistol ammo today. Reloading your own ammo, it's pretty easy, but there's a lot of different steps involved, and it can be overwhelming at first if you're new to it. So I want to show you in a two-part video how to reload your own ammo, a complete guide for beginners from start to finish. Reloading your own ammo is it's fun, time consuming, but it can be fun. It definitely saves money, and also it keeps you out of the constraints of shortages in the market. That's when I started reloading. I'd go to the store, couldn't find what I was looking for, so I decided to invest in the equipment and start reloading my own, so I wasn't dependent on stores' supply. It's also fun when you go shooting. You know, after you're done, you pick up your brass, and at your spot you can clean up other brass that you find, add that to your collection, bring it home, reload it, you're ready to go shooting again the next day. Very little money is spent, and you keep building your collection, your ammo collection that way. For me, I started about 15 years ago. I've done over 50,000 rounds. Not an expert, but I've done enough to know what works, what doesn't, and I have a nice process that works pretty well for me. So let's go ahead and get started. This is part one of the video. It's going to be case preparation. So I'm going to show you what to do with the dirty cases that you got from going shooting. You pick these up, and we're going to start with these. So I have a small batch here. 15 rounds maybe. I'm going to go through every one of them. I'm going to walk you through the step from beginning to end and get these loaded up. So let's go ahead and start with case prep. By that I mean taking the dirty cases. We're going to start with depriming them. Sorry. We're going to start with depriming them. With that, you're going to need the press. Without this, you can't get anything done. You're going to need a die set. The die sets are specific to the caliber. This one we're doing today is 9mm. With pistol dies, you have 3 pieces, 3 separate dies, versus rifles, they typically have only 2. So there's an extra step with pistols, but it's not a big deal. So starting off, we have our depriming die, and with this Hornady lock and load system, it uses these lock and load bushings. You see the little bumps right here? So these actually thread on to the die. This is what you set the die up in, and then the bushing drops right in, twist it, it's locked, you're ready to go. I prefer this system because you buy your set of dies, you get a set of bushings for the die, each die gets set to the bushing. You want to change and do different calibers, all you do is spin that out, drop them in, and we move on to the next step, and we don't have to set it up every time. I feel this is much easier. It works great, doesn't really cost much more. Die set from Hornady is about a little bit cheaper than regular other brands, and these bushings make up for it. They're about the same. Looking about 13 bucks for a set of these. Die sets are about $13 cheaper, so you end up spending about the same. So let's go ahead and get started. So we got our depriming die in. We're going to have our shell holder next. This is also for 9mm. Shell holders are caliber specific. We pop it in right there. We take our case, put it in, make sure it's all the way into the shell holder. Get it in there. It's going to take a little bit of effort, but you don't want to force it. If something's not lined up right and you force it, you're going to jam it in there. You can get the case stuck in the die. It's going to take a long time to get that out, so we don't want that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. You should see the primer fall. There we go, right into the catch. Comes back out, primer's out. This one's now ready to be cleaned. We're going to go through, I'll go ahead and do some more. Pop them out, set them up. It's nice to stay organized so you don't lose track of what you're doing. We'll put them in that little cup there. Pretty simple. This process takes a little bit of muscle. Push down on that. You can do it standing, get a little bit more leverage. But other than that, you can see this step, pretty simple. You just want to make sure that that primer is coming during this first kind of step of inspection, make sure we don't have any split cases, any bulges, anything that's going to cause problems with the case feeding. It's just not worth it. Just chuck them out. Throw them away if you find anything wrong. As you can see, the first step, you can get some music going or something. It can get kind of boring past the time. But, or get your kids to do this. I've done that too. I tend to enjoy it for about 5 minutes, but then they move on. But it saves you some time. Got a few more here to go. I don't want to bore you with this, but I just want everyone to be able to see every step of the way. One more. Oops, I'm stuck. Can't see it fall, but it's in there. Alright, so we got those out. Those are de-primed. Ready to go. Oh, we got one more here. There we go. Get that one out. So, now that we got them de-primed and ready for the next step is going to be cleaning. For that, there's a couple main ways you can clean your brass. There's the media tumbler or a sonic cleaner. I have tried both. I prefer the sonic cleaner. It is a lot faster. Media tumbler takes hours, and I mean 4 to 6 hours, and then a lot of times, especially with 9mm, you have little smaller cases. You get a lot of that media gets stuck inside. You got to tap it out. That takes time. So I prefer a sonic cleaner setup. We're going to next show you how to go ahead and set that up. We'll drop these in and get these cleaned up. Alright, here we are. We're going to set up the sonic cleaner. You have a sonic cleaning solution that you can buy. I've poured a little bit in there already. We're going to take our DI water, fill it up to the minimum line there at the back. We have a small batch, so we don't need a whole lot of water in here. Dump it in a little basket. We're going to put them in, set the timer. I figure 10 minutes with this amount. We'll turn the heat on too. Turn them on, put the lid. This will take about 10 minutes. I'm not going to talk the whole time, but I'm going to walk through a little bit of this process with the sonic cleaner. So once we run them through this, they're going to come out of here. We're going to rinse them with DI water. I have some remaining DI water in this, so I'll dump them into this. We're going to rinse off whatever remaining cleaning solutions on them, and then we'll set them outside on a towel to dry. That's about the only downside with the sonic cleaning is you end up with wet cases, but you have to dry them. But still, if you have some sunlight, set it out in the sun, it doesn't take long. Half hour, an hour, you're still well ahead of the time you would have spent using a media tumbler. You know, like I said, that took about 6 hours to get what this can get clean in about 25 minutes. And then with a half hour of drying time, you're under an hour and your cases are ready to go. If you want to speed that time up, I use a little fan. I lay the brass cases out on a dry towel, set the fan up, and let it blow on them. That'll speed up the process. So we'll go ahead, wait till these are finished. I'll come back to you when I'm pulling these out. We'll get those out. I'll kind of show you how I lay them out real quick to dry them. And then we'll move on to the next step of case prep, which will be the chamfer, deburr, and primer pocket cleaning. And for that, I'm going to use this, the RCBS case prep station. The Hornady Lock and Load set comes with a handheld device with these two pieces on a little handheld bit. It's okay for starting. It's okay for small batches, but if you're going to be doing hundreds of rounds, it wears on your hands quite quickly, and it's time consuming. This little guy, plug it in, turn it on, everything rotates. We'll knock them through. It just takes minutes. So I recommend an investment like this. It's $100, well worth your hands. So we'll go ahead and break for now. I'll come back when 7 minutes is up, and I'll pull these out, and I'll show you the rest of the process. Alright, we're back here. Got the sonic cleaner running. I'm going to go ahead and peek at everything, see how it's going. Basket has little handles, pull up. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, inside looks really good. Okay, I think we're good. We'll go ahead and turn the heat off. Turn off the timer. Here's our fresh DI rinse. Get it out, try to let soapy stuff drain, let all the water drain. And then when good, dump it in there. That back. Get this out of the way. Go ahead and disconnect the power. We won't need this. Now that we have these in here, I just go ahead and fish them out with my hand. There we go. Get them all in one. Set them on our towel. Okay, move it over here a little bit so you can see. Now that we have them on the towel, let's go ahead and bat them. Get some of that, bulk water off. Get them onto a dry part. Like I said, speed up the process. Nice little fan. Get it right up on them. Try to get the water out there. Well, those look nice. Primer pocket's clean on most of them. Just about every one I've touched so far is clean inside. So that's one step we won't really have to spend a lot of time on. A couple of them could use a touch up. Go ahead and let those dry. So far with case prep, we've deprimed, we've cleaned them, and now we have the machining and the expanding and the repriming to go. So we'll give these a little bit of time to dry. Shouldn't take too long, maybe 10 minutes. So once these are done, I'll get back to you guys. And we'll move on with the case prep station. Okay, now that we have our cleaned cases dried, we'll go ahead and transfer them over here to our case prep station. Go back into our cup. Get that out of the way. Now with this, really simple. Turn it on. Everybody's spinning. I'll go ahead and put them over there. Like that. Primer pocket on that one's clean, nothing to do. Same with that one. Most of these came out pretty clean. This one got a little bit. Yep, that's good. That one's dirty. Like I said, this process is much easier with the motorized machine than using the handheld bit, I'll tell you that. But if you're just getting started, you're on a budget, you don't want to invest too much in equipment, the handheld bit will get you by. Eventually you'll need to upgrade to something like this. So once we get these prepped, we're basically prepping the case opening for the expander and also for the bullet to slide into the case easier. See, that one's filthy. Sometimes those pockets get caked in there really good. You gotta just break it free. And also during this step, since we're really getting hands-on with the cases, it's another good chance for case inspection. But so far I haven't found anything with these. These things are in great shape. Typically only find problems with stuff I find on the ground. You know, other cases, they've been stepped on, a rock punctured them. I don't have any issues with my guns with bulging. I've heard about problems with 9 and 40 with the bulge, but I don't see it with any of my pistols. So that's something else you can look out for in this stage, because you're going to feel it pretty easily right now if there was a bulge. But all of these cases look to be pretty good shape, especially these nickel-plated ones. When you redo these, they almost look brand new, even better than new. That one's got a little crud in there. Move it around, nice and shiny. One more to go. After this, we're going to move straight into expanding. Doesn't take much to set that up, so we'll go ahead, turn that off, move this out of the way. We're going to get back to our press. So we have our cases. Once again, they've been deprimed, cleaned. Now chamfered, deburred, primer pockets cleaned out. Now we're ready for expanding. Remove our depriming die, insert our expanding die, which has already been set up. I'm not going to demonstrate the setup of the dies because each brand might have slightly different instructions. They come with a detailed set of instructions. Just follow those and you'll be fine. But these have, like I said, I explained the lock and load bushing system. Already been set up. Got my shell holder in there. We don't need this anymore. We'll dump out our spent primers. Get this out of the way so you have a better view of what's going on. Go ahead and put my case over here. Start with my pile and we'll go ahead and expand these guys. What you want to do is open up the mouth of the case just enough so the bullet will seat in without being overly tight and you risk stripping the metal off the bullet and creating a higher pressure. We don't want that. But we also don't want the case to be opened up like a bell. All that opening and closing of the case, if you do it exaggerated, will weaken the case and shorten the life of it for sure. So you want to open it just enough so you don't have any problems getting the bullet in. So you can see, you probably won't be able to see it on camera, but you can see a slight little flare and you can feel it just open up, but yeah, you don't want a bell. So that one's good. We got our expander set up just right. Go ahead and knock out these. This here is just a boom boom process. The only thing you want to make sure is you got it lined up in your shell holder, because if it doesn't line up, you'll have something like this and it just won't go. And if you force it, you will damage your case. So we'll just go ahead and make sure everyone is all the way to the back. And during this step too, if there was a little kink in the mouth, this would kind of smoothen it out also. So if you had something you noticed, you'll see if this step takes care of it. If not, go ahead and discard the case. Just not worth risking it over one more round. Got about 6 or 7 more to go here. This process goes pretty quick. Just make sure they're all the way in there. You don't want to damage them after going this far. So after we get these expanded, we'll move on to repriming them. And that'll be the last step in our case preparation. So now we have those ready to go, expanders out. Now when it comes to repriming them, there's 2 ways to do that. This press came with a little attachment here, a primer feeder. And I'm not sure which stage. I think during the expanding you can have it also reprime. I've always started off with a handheld tool just because you don't have to be sitting down at your press when you're doing it. You can take this tool inside and do your repriming while you're watching TV. Also, I feel that this gives you a little bit more touch. You don't want to force the primers in and crush them. Sometimes they might come in upside down, and with this you won't feel it. You won't be able to feel, that you're going too far unless you've probably gone too far and they've already gotten a little smushed. So I've always preferred this method. Pretty simple. It has 2 sides, one for small or large primers. This will be the large primer hole, the small primer hole. Very little difference between the two, but you'll definitely see one is smaller. Also, the tool comes with, there's a spring here, and this is the pin for the small primers, and there's another one for the large primers. So you set this tool up for what you're going to use. With 9mm, it's small pistol primer. I believe 940 are both small pistol primer. 45 would be large pistol primer. There are exceptions to that. Blazer Brass, I believe, uses a small pistol on 45. So with this, we get it in there, press that spring down, and we're going to take our shell holder, slide it in there. It should kind of fit easy. Once we take the tension off, that should come up. Oh, we've lost our little arm down here. There we go. Now it's ready to go. Simple. Tray comes off. Remove the clear lid. We have our primer tray. We take our primers. I know I have a less than 20. There's 10 in a row. Simply lay them in there. Open side up. I only got 10, so let's go ahead and try that one more time. It's going to be tough now that I've already done that, but we'll get it. So now, obviously, they're not all face up. Go ahead and give it a little shake. It's got little ridges in here to kind of help turn them over. We got them all but one. I'm going to isolate him out and just kind of flick them there. There we go. You kind of need to get these not in the center, away from the edges. The lid goes back on. There's an opening here and then a close here to close off the side you're not using. Make sure you have it lined up. Looks like I'm good. Should click in. Now we are ready to reprime our cases. So I'll go ahead and move myself ahead of the press so it's not blocking the view here. And we'll dump these out. I lost one. Alright, so same thing, shell holder, opening facing me, like that, press it in. They are seated. Actually, these are silver and they match, it looks really nice. Give this a little shake, another one comes down. All you gotta really make sure is it's facing the right direction. Slide that in all the way, give it a squeeze. If you have to really give it a lot of torque, then something's wrong. Back off and try again. You don't want to get the primer halfway in and find out it won't go, because now it's stuck in the shell holder and you're going to be spending a lot of time getting it out, more than likely popping a primer in the process. So if you have to give it a lot of force, like this one I just did, go ahead and rotate it around. Maybe there's something wrong with this one. It doesn't want to go in, so it's a good example. Let's set it off to the side. See if maybe it's this primer. Sometimes they get bent. That one's got a little, doesn't seem to be assembled properly. Let's go ahead, try the next one. There we go. That went right in. Let's go back and use this case that we had trouble with. That went right in. So that's a good example that we had that right there. Took a lot of effort. There's a little something wrong with the anvil inside this primer. It is not seated all the way, so it was causing problems. So that one there is going to be discarded. So it's a good thing we found that. So I can point out an example of not over squeezing. I feel that using this press, I probably wouldn't have detected that, would have probably forced that in. Wouldn't have been a good reload. That one went in real easy. Something else you'll find, if, especially with 9, I find, it's happened with brass that I've found, is they'll have a military crimp. Their military surplus, a little extra material around the primer pocket that helps it stay in place. You can definitely pop them out, but repriming those with the crimped pockets, they won't go in. You'll have to remove some material. Well, you could use your RCBS station. When we're doing the case mouth, you just flip over the end, remove a little bit of material. You can test fit until the primer fits. Or if you don't want to spend the time with that, just discard the military crimp brass. I don't run into it too often. But it happens once in a while. So we're getting this. Go ahead and knock these out. Oh, think I just ran into one right there. Yep, there's a good example. If you want to zoom in on this, I don't know if you can see it, but right at the end of that there's a little bit of green kind of dye and a little extra ring. It's not quite as open as a regular case. I'll take another one right next to it and you can see that the whole, this is the one with the crimp, no, this is the one that does not have it. So you will run into this from time to time. I tend to only really run into it with 9mm. So I'll move that to the side. We don't want to slow our process down too much. We can, and then I can show you how to massage that one so it'll still work for you. Nice easy process, just kind of got to keep your eye on it. Just make sure, especially with those small primers, they tend to, or they can get turned upside down. Alright, we are one short because we had a defective one. Actually 2 short. I'll go ahead and get 2 more out of here. And I'll just do this by hand. Just drop it in there. I'm going to reopen it. That's our one that's good to go. Okay. Set that off to the side. This primer is no good. I'm going to dispose of it. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to handle a crimp primer pocket. Go ahead and get our station. Turn it on. We're going to just remove a little bit of material. You don't want to go too much because then your primer is loose and your case is ruined. Wobble it to the edges to get that little line. This one's nice because it has a little line that I can see. And if I can get that line on, then I know the primer will fit just well. Okay, let's go ahead and try that. Like I said, you don't want to remove too much. There we go. Blend it in. Okay, now I'll try it. Oh, yep, went right in. A little bit of pop. So there we go. Now we got them primed. Actually, we went through the whole process of case prep. So I'll go ahead and summarize for you now. We went ahead, took our dirty cases, we de-primed them, cleaned them, chamfered, deburred, cleaned the primer pocket, and then we went ahead, expanded them, and then re-primed them. So now we have, in this first part of this video, we've shown you how to take your dirty brass, your dirty cases, and prep them for reload. So if you want to join me in the second part of this video, I'm going to take these exact same cases that I have, and I'm going to powder them and put a bullet in them. And during that video I'll talk about bullet selection, powder selection, just give you a little bit of info where you can get your load data and stuff like that. So thank you for joining me for this video. I enjoyed making it. I felt like it was something I could make and help somebody. I needed the help when I got started, and I had a friend that helped me, but for those that don't have anyone to show them, I hope this video has been helpful, and stay tuned for the second part. Thank you.